first question I want to answer is, why are we here? It's a question of life that's been asked for hundreds and thousands of years by people all around the world. My answer is, it's spiritual evolution. We're eternal spiritual beings coming to Earth to evolve spiritually. The analogy that I'd like to use to explain this comes from the book, The Blind Watchmaker by Professor Richard Dawkins. And in chapter 3 of that book, he talks about a computer program he wrote to prove the power of physical evolution. And let me tell you a little bit about it. He took a number of instances of 28 randomly generated characters. And in this discussion, I'll say we have 100 instances. And in the computer program, he randomly changed characters in each of those instances with the hopes of arriving at the phrase, "Methinks it's like a weasel," which is from the play Hamlet. Now, by statistical probability, the probability of arriving at that phrase by randomly changing those characters is 1 in 10 to the 40th, which is very small. But he used an evolutionary function to accelerate that. And what he did was, out of each iteration in the 100 instances of randomly generated characters, he took the instance that came the closest to the objective, "Methinks it's like a weasel," and made it the parent for the next iteration. And he was able to arrive at the phrase, "Methinks it's like a weasel," after 50 iterations. So he went from 1 in 10 to the 40th to 50, and that proved the power of physical evolution. But if you think about the world religions have unchanging scripture that's existed for thousands of years. And this scripture talks about a way of being, a way of life. And if you embrace that, you can evolve spiritually throughout your lifetime. The important thing that I want to emphasize in this session is intergenerational transfer, is that in order to, just like in the application, have a parent for the next iteration of the program, you need to pass on what you've learned and what you've evolved to from a spiritual perspective to your children and your grandchildren. And that allows spiritual evolution to continue over time. If you don't do it, you're just going to devolve your spiritual evolution to statistical probability, which is what I think is going on in the world today. So what we'll talk about in the next session is our eternal existence. And I'll give you a few facts and figures from that perspective. And I hope you'll join me. I hope you'll also hit the like button for this session as well as this series. And we'll talk to you in a few minutes. Take care.